Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Oh my goodness, my voice is so strong, it scared me. Um, I tell you, last night after I got done, um, I don't know what else I did because then I was really feeling bad. And the, I was like, you know, my teeth were chattering and everything. When that happens, then you know you're fighting some kind of infection. But anyway, it seems to have passed me by, and I feel much better today. And anyway, thanks to the squatty that just sent me a last minute something to my Twitter inbox about a story that I really didn't even want to talk about, but thank you so much for that. As a matter of fact, thank you, comma. I needed this. There we go. I will send a message to that squatty. See, without you guys, it would not be so easy to do this work. So I am eternally grateful. All right. So that is taken care of. And let me grab my slides and then we can get started. Okay, and that. Also, I got a message from a squatty that I haven't replied to yet, but I did see it. And it was about getting their own channel started. And I will definitely try to point you in the right directions. But as for trying to demonstrate things, it is so, I don't have the words to explain how to do this, but almost every day you learn something new. And if you have patience and you keep at it, it gets so much easier by the day. Um, and I mean to tell you, even this week, I'm sure that there was something, and the week just started. I'm sure there was something I didn't know how to do. And then I was like, oh, that's how that works. So, yeah, but I will do what I can, but no promises. But I will, at the very least, try to point you in the right direction. Elaine Parker, you were here first. Thank you so much. Who else is here? Oh, Lydia Washington. Blue Draws, Black Queen, Yalibi, TB. Patricia Starkey. You're not related to David Starkey, are you? That obnoxious little guy on British television, the one that says the British monarchy has been around for 1,000 years. 1,000 years. You're not related to that guy, are you? Probably spell your name differently, right? Anyway, he's an obnoxious little twerp. Unless you're him. Just kidding. Just kidding. Let's see. Janice Goodrich, Novi D, Rory, Lady T, Deborah Anderson, Maggie, uh, Paulette Claw is here, Mamie Ricks, Brenda Gray, and a host of friends and others. Okay. Slides are ready. All right, so back to Montecito. Prince and princess. She left the Duchess and she returned a princess. And by the way, that image of the ocean behind them, that photo I took the very first time I went to California and actually had a chance to see a real California sunset. I had been to California a few times and never got a chance to see the sunset. So it was a very spiritual thing. And so interesting is that someone had told me you have to make sure that you go to California and see a sunset. I'm like, all right, I'll put that on my bucket list. Well, it took me about 20 years, but I got there and it was everything that I wanted it to be. I was over by the Venice Beach, and you know, after you get through all of the hobos and vagabonds, it's actually very beautiful over there. After the street corner pharmaceutical salespeople have completed their sales pitch, you can actually see some interesting things. So I'm just being silly. None of that happened. Oh, Blue Draws, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Man, I tell you, my voice is so much stronger tonight. Yesterday, I was really in a pickle. And you know what they say? Once you become a pickle, you can never be a cucumber again. Somebody ought to write that down. Um, so, out of everything that happened in the past couple weeks, I'm going to tell you the one thing that really made my heart sink. And I do mean that in a terrible way. When we were celebrating Archie's birthday, uh, do you know one of the squaddies? I don't even know this person. It was just someone on the Twitter had posted the picture of Meghan walking Archie into the daycare, whatever. And we all know that that was a pap photo. And Meghan was wearing a face mask because it was in the height of the global pandemic. And I'm just like, why? Why? But in the excitement, sometimes people just don't know better. But the one thing I'm very guarded about are the photos of Archie and Lily. If I don't see them until they graduate from university, I'm okay with that. And don't get me wrong, I'd be glad to see them like anybody else. But um, their privacy and their security is of particular concern. So um, just be careful, you guys. Celebrate all you want, but unless it's one of the official photos from the Sussex, don't post the parade photos that the Sussexes did not take, which means not at all. And some of the other ones that seems to have made their way through. And of course, I see it on Facebook. I've seen those kind of photos in the Instagram, and is it just I don't know. It just makes me pause. I'm not angry at the person who shared it because obviously they whatever, but it just makes me pause. I'm like, that's my reaction. So that was like something that I meant to say a while ago, and I just didn't really think about it for a while, and that was good. I was so preoccupied with the Nigeria trip. So absolutely, Deb 89. We have to protect those kids. We have to protect them. And yeah, and someone asked me today. I was doing a little catch up with someone who's not really a squatty, but they're a Sussex Squad sympathizer, and they were asking me about when they're not on those engagements like that, do they have protection? I'm like, absolutely, absolutely. Meghan doesn't go anywhere without a bodyguard with her, and and it's for very good reason. And most of it has to do with that family and the British tabloid media and the unending campaign against the Sussexes. But, it is what it is. So I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that whatever endeavors the Sussexes are involved in is incredibly successful. I don't know how many pans I have to buy from American Riviera Orchard or anything else they're involved in. But I'll do what I can on my end. So I want them to get extremely rich and have enough wealth to keep them safe. Because after what they've been through, those kids deserve that kind of protection because it's going to be bad enough with the media at some point taken interest in them again. So that's why we have to keep them out of sight, because as soon as they have photos that are approved that they can share, then that's going to draw a bunch of interest, and we just don't want that. Out of sight, out of mind. So, moving on, let us get to this. This was that little something that was dropped in my box. Um, and I am very grateful for that. So, I'm not going to play the video, but I will let you hear what the governor of the great state of California, the third or fourth largest economy in the world, the Golden State, um, the land of opportunity, the land of eternal summer. I'll let you hear what he had to say about the Sussexes, and then we'll talk about it.
Amount of attention that has been placed on the Archewell Foundation. I'm here at a behavioral health site, a mental health site. Archewell Foundation, run by Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, do extraordinary work, particularly women and girls, but notably around mental health. And I just want folks to know, not only are they in compliance, there's a technical paperwork issue that was wildly over hyped. And with respect, I hope people that ran those headlines run this headline, that it was a very typical technical issue around paperwork that persists for so many others as well. And they're in full compliance. And they're a celebrated organization that does great work in the state of California. So I wanted to clarify that, because that's important. And I just thought there was a little bit of a piling on that was deeply unfair.
Yes, it was grossly inadequate for them to try to um, expose a weakness that did not exist. It is something that is a matter of routine for a lot of organizations, that sometimes people need to take a second look at the paperwork just to make sure that an agency is compliant. I didn't doubt the Sussexes at the very least. And I promise you, I did not even have a slide prepared for the story yesterday. Someone mentioned it in the chat, I believe, and I responded to it because I just wasn't going to talk about it, because I never had any inkling. I didn't doubt the Sussexes in the least bit, because they are being scrutinized. As I say often, Meghan has been vetted like she's running for governor. She has been vetted like she's a presidential candidate. And because of that, I just don't believe, with the resources that they have, that they would make a mistake like that. I didn't believe it for the least bit. So I did not read the article because I thought it was foolish. And the only way I heard about it is listening to another content creator discussing the finer details. And I'm like, well, you know, that explains everything. So I did not doubt the Sussexes at all. And especially being an African American, I understand what it's like to be under that kind of scrutiny and having, say, everyone in a workplace looking down your throat. You just don't give them any ammunition. You don't give a person a stick to hit you in the head with. So I just didn't think there was any truth to it, and so I was inclined to not even mention it. But it just seemed like it snowballed throughout the day, and it just went from bad to worse. So that was Governor Newsom's response to it. So let's do a little review. Now, right there, registrant detail, mailing address, filing correspondence, annual renewal data, etc., etc. Obviously, that is the form. Statement by the California Attorney General's press office. After being in touch with our registry of charities and fundraisers, the Archewell Foundation is currently in good standing. Statement by the Archewell Foundation. We have diligently investigated the situation and can confirm that the Archewell Foundation remains fully compliant and in good standing. Due payments were made promptly and in accordance with the IRS's processes and procedures. Furthermore, all necessary paperwork had been filed by the foundation within error or wrongdoing. I'm sorry, without error or wrongdoing. So it is what it is. They did what they were supposed to do, and yet something happened. And that can happen, and it's just like anything else. If you have to file something or pay a bill, you have a post date that must be observed, right? And you can have everything in, and what happens years later when they're tearing down that building? Oh, look at what we found that slipped behind this and fell behind that. Anything can happen. And of course, not to disparage anyone at that office, you hope that it's not a matter of someone having made a mistake there, right? You hope that that's not the issue. So, whatever happened, the point is the governor has spoken out about it, and that was very kind of him to point out the Archewell Foundation's ability to reach out and help a lot of people. Cheers for that. As a matter of fact, he gets a bell for that. Yeah, he gets a bell for that. Uh, let's see. And right there, a royal suitor says, now we've got the governor of California out here caping for Prince Harry and Meghan. Let's see, the Beans on the Toast Brigade. The Beans on the Toast Brigade. Ooh, I've never heard her be so snappy like that. Should have stayed quiet. Let me see. I just want folks to know not only are they in compliance, it was a technical paperwork issue that was wildly that is overhyped. Gavin Newsom. Newsom comes to the defense of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, saying news reports about Archewell Foundation being delinquent were wildly overhyped. Just one for okay, and that repeats what he said in that thing. So this is what I had before I was able to see that video. Unbelievable amount of attention has been placed on the Archewell Foundation. Yeah. Okay. So I don't even need this anymore because we have the actual video. And what is that last one there? Called into question over registration lapses in California. There's been unbelievable amount of attention. Yeah. Okay. Same thing. So there you go. Much to do about nothing. It was overhyped by the Beans and Toast Brigade. Oh, now see there, as shall we say, as professional as Royal Suitor is, even she has her limitations and decided to clap back at the royal reporters, the tabloids and such. So let's see. Joan Garcia says, Baron, I am done. Evil Charles orders Commonwealth countries not to invite Harry and Meghan to their countries and not caring to visit Black countries. Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna give him the side eye about that because I do believe what's that guy's name? Um, Tom Bauer. I believe he spoke truth where that's concerned. It sounds just way too plausible to not have been the truth. Thank you so much for your super chat. Let's see. The press office of the California Attorney General about to confirm that Fox News Digital Tuesday after being in touch with our registry charity fund. Okay. Okay. All right. So we're good with that. We are good with that. All right. Let's continue. So demand King Charles to resign as head of Commonwealth due to racism allegations. Well, isn't that a coinky dink? So apparently, change.org, as you know, they are the ones who facilitate a lot of these online petitions. Well, apparently, someone has started a petition that is, with the request that Charles step down from the Commonwealth. Now, we all know that Queen Elizabeth II did everything she could to coerce. She called in favors, and who knows what else she had to do, but she managed to get um, the other members of the Commonwealth nations to vote for Charles to take over after the Queen dies. Now, there's no rule that says the Commonwealth head has to be a member of the British royal family. But because the Commonwealth has been the life work of Queen Elizabeth II, she wanted to make sure that her legacy continued through Charles III. And so she solicited the help of other people. And, people were very fond of Queen Elizabeth and the Commonwealth. And the one thing that a lot of people would agree upon when it comes to the British monarchy is that there was a lot of affection for Queen Elizabeth, and most people, even the people who don't care for the monarchy, who don't care for, you know, royal families or the aristocracy, a lot of people, not all, but a lot of people agreed, hands off when it comes to the Queen. The Queen, after she goes, then we'll make moves to change some things. Well, the Queen just lived on and on and on and on and on and on until she wasn't alive. And so Charles was, supposed to, has filled in after her death. But now they're just like, you know what? This whole thing about Charles. And because not only racism concerning um, Meghan, of course not, but when you consider that the tabloids have said some of the nastiest things about host nations, not just since the Queen died, but over the years, they send the royal family to countries like Kenya, and yet not only are they constantly barraged with racist comments from the tabloid media, but then the media that traveled with Charles, they were segregating the Kenyan journalists. They would not allow them to be in the same circle, to travel in the same circle. They would not eat with them. It was the very worst example of separate but equal. But it was not equal. They got the first opportunity to take photos. They got the first opportunity to get near, the principals, meaning Charles and Godzilla, Camilla. I don't know why I keep saying that. And so the Kenyan media, they sang like Aretha Franklin. They told everything. So I just said this yesterday. Was it yesterday? That the tabloid media is an embarrassment for Britain because they are the face of Britain. And to the rest of the world, especially the Commonwealth nations, they represent Britain. And there's a lot of people who can compartmentalize and look past it. But even when Biden went over there, you're on one hand, you're saying, we need a trade deal. We need a trade deal. But yet, there was one insult against Biden after the other. And this went on for days. This went on for days. Not because anything was different about Biden, but just because he was there. And so, how do you expect favor? How are you going to court favor from other nations if the face of Britain is racist? It just doesn't make sense. And even with Nigeria, all of the racist things they were saying, one of the most dangerous places on earth. And how can they be safe there? You know what? Save that argument for home. Even if it's not the rest of the royal family, yes, it's Harry and Meghan. We get you don't like them. But why would you expose yourselves like that? But that media machine that gives all kind of favor to the royal family and drags everybody else is going to be the downfall of a lot of things that would be beneficial to Britain. So I said it yesterday, and here today I see there's a thing saying that because of racism, we want him out of there. We want him out of there. Let me see. Meghan's jamming. The Commonwealth countries should make Meghan their new head. Wouldn't that be great? Oh, you know what? I'm messy enough that I would like that, but I need them to build up their wealth. That's what I need. I need them to build up their wealth because that will afford them the safety and protection that they need. But yes, I'm messy enough that I would, I would love for Meghan to be president of the United States. Now what? Now what? That's exactly what I would say on election day. Now what? But that's not the direction they're going. The messy part of me sees a lot of things that I would like to celebrate, but that's not for them. But oh, wouldn't it just be juicy? Wouldn't that be juicy? I would need a plastic surgeon would have to use dynamite to get the smile off my face. Yep, my face would ache from smiling. My stomach muscles, I would have a six pack because laughing as much as I would probably create a six pack. Yep, I would create a six pack from my stomach muscles contracting every time I laughed. Oh, that would just be messy. But not meant to be. Okay, so, and then there's Christopher Wilson, desperate to show his wife they were still royal in the eyes of the world. Now, I wouldn't talk about this otherwise, but it involves Nigeria. It's part of the conversation for today. This is one of those things that I would skip for the sake of my mental health. But this person has been dragged thoroughly. Desperate to show his wife they were still royal in the eyes of the world, the Duke of Windsor took Wallace Simpson on tour of Germany in 1937. They were greeted ecstatically. Nigerian human rights record is not far short of Nazi Germany's. Why? Why? And so he decided to attack the Sussexes by bringing out the Wallace Simpson thing, and then, of course, making some false equivalency of Nigeria and Nazi Germany. That was reckless and irresponsible, not to mention stupid. Nazi Germany's. That's the depth to which you took it. You took it to denigrate a couple that you have and bullied, vilified rather, for years. You decided to slander an entire nation of 250 million people. To what end? I'm sorry for you and your gloomy pit and the gloomy pit of your soul. So that was a quote from a squatty. Excuse me. At least I think it was a squatty. Yeah, I didn't leave the name up there. So yeah, I cut the name, cropped the name out to avoid people going to their social media. But that was this journalist, Christopher Wilson. That was what he tweeted today. He seems to lean toward being a very provocative and, dare I say, racist individual, or at least his tone is racist. Okay. I don't know him personally, but I'm just going to say he sounds racist. And so he got dragged so bad that at some point he decided to delete this tweet. He deleted it. Omi Scobie says, I see the clowns are out in full force again. That was a tweet from Omi Scobie. And Kevin O'Sullivan, great weird pretend royal tour of dodgy Nigeria by Harry and Meghan. Where's next, Somalia? Another racist comment. They wouldn't say this about any of the European countries. No, they save this type of rhetoric for Nigeria. Again, the face of Britain. That is the face of Britain. And of course, Charles is not going to speak out or speak up in any way to, I guess, take the sting out of it or to rebuke anybody. And Rishi Sunak, he's not going to say anything. He'll keep his Tory mouth shut. And so if it wasn't for social media, there probably wouldn't be anything said. But they probably won't even report this in the tabloids or on any of the television or whatever. They're not going to report it. They're just going to pretend like it didn't happen. Desperate to show his wife they're still royal. And this whole thing about comparing Meghan to Wallace Simpson, a very wise squatty said earlier today, and I agree, Wallace Simpson never left. She never left. They were still provided an income from the royal family. They had an allowance from the royal family. They never cut their ties to the extent where they were self-sufficient. Big difference. Big difference. But you want to know who is self-sufficient? Who did cut the apron strings? Harry and Meghan. They didn't knuckle under and go back. And they didn't sit around waiting for a handout. They went to work. And they're still working. And according to Gavin Newsom, they're doing some damn good work. Anytime you have the governor of the state of California, one of the world's largest economies, that speak out on your behalf, you must be doing something right. He didn't have to do that. But when you're doing good work and you're stepping up and you're filling a void where government agencies do not venture or cannot venture, where the private sector is overwhelmed by requests for aid and donations, Harry and Meghan have two components to their finances. There is the Archewell Foundation, which is the charitable side. And then there's the Archewell production. And mostly that is where their work is directed. That is where they intend to earn money. Not to mention the other things like investing in, say the Clever Blend. And I'm very sure that with Harry earning money from, well, being on the board at the what is it, chief impact officer, I'm hoping he gets stock options. I'm hoping he gets stock options because as that company grows, so will his money, so will his bank account. So I hope that's the way that's working out. But to be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know. I just hope so. But yeah, so it was a pretty crappy thing to do, um, to say these things. And it's not just these two. There were several voices over the weekend that said some of the nastiest things about Nigeria. How can they expect to be secure there? It's one of the most dangerous countries in the world. The thing is, if you go any place where you have been the victim of a hate campaign, I don't care where you go, you may not be safe. And that's what happened to the Sussexes. They should be safe in the UK, but we know why their safety cannot be guaranteed. We know why. When a newspaper runs an article saying, if Harry and Meghan come back, are you going to boo them? That's the news? That's a proper news agency? Are you going to boo them? Is Meghan staying away because she's afraid she's going to get booed? And the tabloids feed a lot of negativity, and they also gather talking points and news articles based on the trolls. They have a symbiotic relationship where they feed each other. The trolls are their constituents and they feed them, and vice versa. They're dependent on one another. And the other thing that someone wisely said today, um, Grandma, who's on Twitter, and I promised myself that I'm going to try to say this as correct as possible. But she said we have to stop taking the negative stories and running with it, because if we're repeating those things, then we're doing the work for them, which is why I have to be very selective about what I need to speak about. What am I going to talk about? And if it's something that is not trending, if it's something that is not a much larger discussion, then chances are I'm just going to pass because I don't want to be the conduit. I don't want to be the one to make something out of nothing. Plus, not only do I want to protect my mental health, I want to protect your mental health. So, don't be so quick to jump forward with these stories, especially considering where you found it. If you are looking at one of those deranger channels, or one of those channels with the robotic voice and the photos that don't match the storyline, you're going to quote them? You're going to quote them? Don't do that, because then you're doing the work for them. Try to avoid that. Don't feel the need to be the first person to talk about something negative as though you're helping Harry and Meghan. You're not. It's okay. Wait and see where the story goes. Give it a day or two, because a lot of things that otherwise would not trend, it will start to trend because the Sussex Squad are the ones that's sharing it. A lot of those things trend because we share it. So they put the bait out there and wait for your emotional need to defend Harry and Meghan, which comes from a good place. It comes from a good place. But just remember, they're dependent on you to be angry and outraged. You should see some of the stuff that people inbox me that I don't talk about. I'm like, I'm not talking about that. I just ignore it. Coco, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. Okay. Take a look at a couple of your comments. Yes, they did show up and show out. Yes, on the happiness index, Britain is considered to be a very miserable place. And I really do feel for the people in the UK because I've been there. I've gotten excellent service. People were very respectful. And it's one of the places that I've always wanted to go. And I probably will return there someday. You know, I'm a real Anglophile, not a monarchist, an Anglophile. I love the culture. I love the pomp and circumstance, the country manor houses, all that stuff. The canals and the green spaces, all of those things. I love all that stuff. But when an African American woman marries into the royal family and then has been treated the way Meghan has been treated, it's not difficult for me to, you know, separate myself from anything I thought about that institution. That's an easy one. Her mother looks like my mother, okay? And anybody who would cause my mother the kind of grief that they have caused Doria affects me. And I can never look at that royal family again the same way. It's just that simple. I have no conflict with my feelings about that family. Whatever was there has been lost. And to be honest with you, I didn't even look at Will and Kate's wedding. I have skipped through it a few times. I tried to watch it even before all of this, but it was just boring. It was so boring. I mean to tell you, just boring. Boring. It was just boring. I had no connection to either of those two. None. So don't ask me why. I just never did. And so I realized that I never had anything for them in the first place. Diana brought me to the family, and Meghan brought me back to the family. Meghan left the family. I left the family. It's just that simple. If it wasn't for Diana, I wouldn't know anything about them. So, not quite the truth. I deleted it because I had caused unanticipated offense. Not an apology. Not an apology. the very erudite tone sounds just like the non-apology from Jeremy Clarkson, right? There's something about the smart set, something about these very tawny, middle-aged white gentlemen, these I guess thinkers. There's something about them that they know how to not apologize, and that was definitely a non-apology. But take a look at this old tweet over here on the right. The difficulty was that at the beginning, there was hope that Harry would come home alone, perhaps. He's replying to Emily, Where's the Clowns, Andrews. And of course, oh my God, that's small. She said, true, in some way, this is what she tweeted first. The idea that 12 months cooling off period so they could return if they wanted was a good one, but that was never going to happen. Harry and Meghan made that clear right from the start. So to hope, is that right? What is that? Hoi polloi? Whatever that means, has caused confusion as people thought there would be a review. Well, there could not be a review because they cut off their um, royal protection and Charles cut off the money. So there was no review. Harry and Meghan said absolutely nothing for one entire year. They said nothing, hoping that the briefing and the leaking from the palace would end. They didn't say something as soon as they got cut off. They waited, hoping that it would stop. So they did the Oprah interview. That didn't work. So then, of course, there was a docuseries and a book. That got their attention. That got their attention, but it didn't stop them. It did not stop them. Oh, yeah, Omen Scobie is petty in such a good way. I love it. The UK has been doing propaganda on the US forever. They don't publicize the plight or inequities of their people. Here, here, Lex. Here, here. You get a bell for that. And that's just like the thing with the, well, you don't want an American president. Look at what's happening over there. Every time something scandalous happens with an American president, they make a big deal out of it because that's a way to control the masses and make sure that they never ask for a elected head of state. And unfortunately, so many people buy into it. Never mind that they have peace and stability in France. Never mind they have peace and stability in most of Western Europe and now most of Eastern Europe. Never mind that. They are determined to make sure that one family at a cost of 350 million pounds a year get all of the privileges of some ancient sultan or something like that. Let's see. Okay, let me continue here. So I haven't shared this graph in quite some time, but now seems like the time. Socioeconomic background of journalists. Higher socioeconomic backgrounds compared to the lower and middle socioeconomic backgrounds. So when it comes to journalists and reporters, 84% comes from the higher level, and only 16% are just basic people like you and me, or some of us. Um, or should I say the majority of us. And then when it comes to editors, 73% of the editors also come from a higher socioeconomic background, and only 27% from the lower socioeconomic background. Now, this was posted, as you can see, back in May of 22 by Basit Mahmood. And he said, when a narrow section of society dominates our media landscape, it has an adverse effect on our democracy as well as our news values. Which stories are told, how they are told, and what's deemed newsworthy and what isn't. I saw the damaging effects this had on my own community. So that's why it's so easy for someone to say, you know what, those ladies at that hub kitchen, did you all know that they may possibly, allegedly, and somehow in a roundabout, unlikely way have some connection to people that may have been members of the mosque that is attached to the kitchen that they may or may not have ever attended? Did you know that? And then what happens? Housewives, mothers, working class people are getting threats from the right wing because the right wing media, where there's 84% of the journalists and reporters and 73% of the editors, come from a very biased, very white, higher socioeconomic position in society. And so there is no sympathy toward others. They just say whatever they want to. God knows they won't lose their jobs. They never do. You can compare a child of a biracial woman to a chimpanzee, and you can keep your job. We've all seen it happen. It played out in real time. And what about Jeremy Clarkson? After that filthy stuff he said about Meghan, it just didn't die down. They circled the wagons. They made sure that all of the tabloid reporters, including the ones with their television appearances, they said things like, haven't Jeremy Clarkson been punished enough? Enough is enough. He did apologize. Actually, he did not. He sent an email to Harry on Christmas with a non apology. It wasn't directed to Meghan. It did not mention Meghan. It was a non apology. But given the timing, and they leaked the fact that it was sent out, you didn't hear it from the Sussexes. It was leaked. That was supposed to serve as an apology, making sure that an old racist white man gets to keep his job, that he is not ostracized, he's not canceled, which he should have been. Leg says, unanticipated offense. His entire tweet was to shock and denigrate. He expected pushback from people of color, but not white allies and advocates. Don't get it twisted. Thank you, Legs. As per usual, very appropriate. Yeah, exactly. He doesn't expect any pushback, no blowback, nothing is going to come from this. He took it down. He did a non apology, and that's the end of it. There'll be no further comment about it. Now, he may have ruined his chances of, you know, making money in the US, but he could always go to Fox News. He just don't, well, should I say, he has just excluded himself from the mainstream media. Because I guarantee you, unless it's Fox or some other right wing network, I don't think that Sharon Osbourne is ever going to work on American television again. You see, she packed up and moved away. The writing is on the wall. She'll say it was because of the taxes in California. Uh-uh. Your goose is cooked, honey. And the same with Hoghead Pierce Morgan. He can hang it up in the US. He can hang it up, especially after all the things that was written about him by Byline. Yeah, I think he's done with the US. And trust me when I say this, that hits them in their pockets. That really hits them in their pockets. They'd rather be here than not because they'd make way more money. That is why the royal family has to stay in the American market. They have to have favor from us because not only does it benefit them, but it benefits all of those little uh, rats that follow them around. It benefits the royal rota. So it's not going to make the royal family any richer or poorer, but it will help the royal rota. And they feed the royal rota. They feed them, sometimes directly, but mostly indirectly. So when you have a rat problem, a royal rat problem, same as royal rota, what you have to do is just find a big angry cat. That's all it takes. If you got a big rat, get a bigger cat. Got to take care of that rat problem. You could step on his little head and watch his little beady eyes bulge out. uh, you just step on their little head and their little eyes just start bulging out, looking like Don Knotts. Yeah, that's what you have to do. Dinner, anyone? Oh, you know what? I just opened up another screen. I haven't seen uh, what you guys can see, but there you go. Take a look at the top. There's Sussex Global UK. You know, hello, Ivy here. That's Ivy's channel. If you have not subscribed, make sure you do. Like, subscribe, and share. Okay. Let me get this royal rodent off the screen. Okay, King lost sense of taste. When? That's all I got to say is when. Because it seems to me he lost his taste back in 19 oh let me see, when did he get a divorce? Was it 1996? That's when he lost taste. He hasn't had good sense or taste for quite some time, and I can prove it too. I can prove it. I have good evidence that he lost his sense of taste a long time ago. King reveals loss of taste amid cancer treatment on army base visit with William. Yeah, this is how you know he lost his sense of taste. He went from one of the most photographed women in the world, one of the most beautiful women in the world, exciting, the stuff of fairy tales, Madison Avenue, tall, beautiful, a joy to be around. And he went off with Camilla. Yep. He went from Diana to Camilla. Now, if that's not an example of having lost your taste, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. I mean, you've all heard or you've all read the transcript of that late night phone call that was picked up by ham radio. Does that seem like somebody who has a sense of taste? Not to mention a sense of decorum. That's when he lost his taste. So I think I know what taste they're talking about, but because I'm kind of petty, not to mention a little mean, but because I'm kind of petty, it was just another opportunity to point out the shortcomings of the Queen Consort. I mean, anyone who thought that that was a good idea, yeah, okay, I get it. She's the kind of woman that you can have a cigar with, you can wrestle around with, you can walk up and punch her, she punch you back, whatever. She's just one of the fellas. Got that nice, rugged, square jaw. Some guys are into that. But still, she's just not very glamorous. And I think one of the worst traits is that here, let me get this up here so I can show you. I want to make sure that I give you a proper idea of one of her shortcomings. Okay, there it is. Yeah, there we go. So, anytime you're dating someone who has won the Ernest Borgnine lookalike contest, if you're dating someone who has won the Ernest Borgnine lookalike contest, maybe you ought to think it through. Really, you ought to think it through. Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. With because people can be cruel. You know what I mean? Not me, of course, but some people can be very cruel. And if your partner can enter a lookalike contest for the likes of Ernest Borgnine and win, then you're with the wrong person. I'm just saying. So, but yeah, I get it. I mean, I see what Charles gets sees in her, which is unfortunate because I'd rather unsee it. But I could see what he sees in her, honestly. Okay. I think that's shady enough for now. Wait a minute. I was trying to find the side by side, but I don't see it. Oh, well. Oh, well. Oh, wait. Well, I won't bother. Okay, let me take a look at a couple of your comments here. Let me see, Baron. I would imagine that, like anything else, Black Queen, you lose the sense of taste. After a while, it's like anything else. After a while, you just can't taste it anymore. Thank you so much for the super sticker. And Leg says, geez, does she always look a mess? Call the okay, okay, I got you.
Police! 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 Help! Police! Help! Police! Help! Help! Police! Help!
Talk about a drama mama. Talk about a drama mama. I wonder if that guy was able to talk after that. Okay. Thank you very much, Lex. All right. And continuing. Oh, King lost sense of taste. All right. Here's another example of a loss of sense of taste. Since I talked about this earlier, this is the portrait that has launched a million memes. So, someone on the internet found the original copy. It appears that Charles took exception to a certain part of the painting and had the artist do it over. So this was the original, right? That was the original. And I'll show you the remake. See there? That was the original, and then this is the one that they shared with the public. That looks like a specimen. It does. It looked like a specimen. It looks like someone is trying to crawl out of the pits of hell. But you'd be shocked to know that Charles approved of it. Camilla was the first to get a good look at it, and she approved of it. Camilla thought it was a good idea. As a matter of fact, she said, "Yeah, you definitely got him. You sure did. You sure did." That's an understatement. But have you seen the reaction? Have you all seen Charles' reaction? You got to see this. You got to see this. Okay. Uh-oh. I got to. I'm going to get the video so you can see his reaction. It is a doozy. Talk about nowhere to run and no place to hide. Okay. Incoming. Did you see how he flinched? Did you see how he just flinched? Watch it again. I mean, talk about a raw gut reaction. What the? That's your picture. He literally jumped out of his skin. He saw himself and jumped out of his skin. Why do I get the feeling that his bathroom mirror is covered up? That they keep it covered. Chris Ship says, and that's Chris Ship with a P, not a T, is ship, not the other word. Any thoughts on the new portrait of King Charles III? It's just been unveiled in front of the King and Queen consort at Buckingham Palace by artist Jonathan Yeo. It's the first completed. Oh, I guess it's so special he said it twice. It's the first completed official portrait of the monarch since the coronation. And then someone else, you see what I mean? It started a bunch of memes. It started a bunch of memes. As soon as that was unveiled, people started talking about that phone call. YM Droid says, I'm not surprised a hellhound would approve of a demon king portrait. All that's missing is the disclaimer. It was sponsored by that company. uh, and then, of course, Black Queen says, Baron, it looks like Camilla looks like she lit a cigarette, rather. uh, okay. Thank you so much for the super chat. Let's see. Where is it? Oh, yes, it does. It does look like it. It does. It really does. And I'm not sure what that is by her face, but it does look like she has a. It seems like to make a fire, she's rubbing her paws. I mean, her hands together. Yeah, she's rubbing her hands together, trying to make a little fire. She's celebrating her handiwork with a cigarette. Thank you for that. Okay. So that's the artist proudly standing in front of his work. Proudly standing in front of his work. And as I said earlier, he's painted for other people. Back in 2014, he painted this. And also in 2021, he painted this. Of course, the Prince did not sit for him. Was he dead already? I think so. Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, he also painted that. So he's definitely talented, and I can see the merit of his work. But this is a mess. Anytime you have something that looks like a specimen or looks like the floor of the emergency room, that's bad. That is bad. Um, and one of the things that they were trying to say as a compliment is that in a room full of portraits, because of the vibrant color, that this is going to definitely pop out. Yeah, it will pop out. The thing is, like most people's bodily organs, shouldn't that be on the inside of you? It'd be like wearing your bodily organs on the outside of your clothes. Some things just should not happen. It just, and you know what Dr. Shola said? Dr. Shola, of course, went there. Let me see, where was Dr. Shola's comment? Was that it? Oh, yeah. Dr. Shola says, blood-stained legacy of the British monarchy embodied. Let me see. Is that the guy from Frasier, David Hyde Pierce? He does look like him. He does. Where's the guy at? He absolutely does look like him. Oh my God, he does. He absolutely looks like him. Good eye. Good eye. He absolutely does look like him. And of course, here's another meme. Not my king. Now remember, there's a butterfly on his shoulder because it represents him morphing from a butterfly. No, from a, what is it? From a moth into a, well, anyway, you know what I mean. Leaving the cocoon. Yeah, leaving the cocoon. Hello, Ivy here. Ivy says the artist knew exactly what he was doing. I commend him for his bravery because, as some point Chucky will realize what the public thinks of it, and then it will blow a gasket. It looks like a gasket has blown. Thank you for that, Ivy. Thank you so much for that. And then someone else decided that, he should have added another figure to the image, like an old friend of the family. Yes, an old friend of the family. If you know, you know. Yeah, that's haunting, isn't it? That is haunting. But the tabloid media allows everybody to pretend like that friendship never was. But they were very close. As a matter of fact, in some instances, it is alleged that he was an advisor of sorts. Now, what type of advice he was giving, I have no idea. But they said that he was a confidant. They have even been photographed riding in the car together. So make of it what you will. Will gets his hands on Harry's chopper, which is just disgusting. With everything else going on in the world, as I said yesterday, I do believe that the tabloids wanted an opportunity to make money this weekend. And so it just made sense to be as positive as they could in their coverage of the Sussexes. That's what I believe. Now, recollections may vary, but that's what I believe because it seems as though what was happening with the Sussexes over the weekend would have gotten quite a few phone calls from Kensington Palace and from Buckingham Palace. But it seems like if they did say something, it fell on deaf ears. I mean, they called it, what was it, Meghan Mania? The Meghan Show, a few other things, which those can be considered kind of offensive too. But it was a lot of positive news. Whatever you think, it was a lot of positive news. But we know that that is short lived, as evident by what they pulled today with, um, the Archewell stuff. They were waiting to launch their attack on Archewell, right? So they had that in the works already. Trust and believe that was in the works. They were just waiting for the opportunity to pounce. So I think they may have held on to that for a minute. And also, we had all of that stuff about William Top Gun and all of the other nonsense that they were saying yesterday. I believe that that was part of the long game. Get as much money from the goodwill of people like the Sussex Squad that are hungry for images and stuff like that. And then come Monday, we go on the attack. So I believe that's what they did. And that way they could calm down Will, calm down Charles. This is just a scenario that I'm working out. I don't know that it's true, but that's to me, that's the only thing that makes sense. Also, someone decided that given William's temperament, next he's going to try to take credit for the Power Rangers or try to join the Power Rangers or whatever. Uh, what's that? They said it would be an attack on Archewell last week. They are now stating another attacking. Oh, okay. I missed that one. Did it denounce the press pylon? Well, you know what? There's no reason why we can't listen to it again. So why don't I do that? And then you can decide. Um, because I would love to say yes. And I think he did speak to that. But let's just listen to it again. I certainly don't mind.
Amount of attention that has been placed on the Archewell Foundation. I'm here at a behavioral health site, a mental health site. Archewell Foundation, run by Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, do extraordinary work, particularly women and girls, but notably around mental health. And I just want folks to know, not only are they in compliance, it was a technical paperwork issue that was wildly over hyped. And with respect, I hope people that ran those headlines run this headline, that it was a very typical technical issue around paperwork that persists for so many others as well. And they're in full compliance. And they're a celebrated organization that does great work in the state of California. So I want to clarify that because that's important. And I just thought there was a little bit of a piling on that was deeply unfair. Unbelievable amount of attention that.
Yes, so he did use the term piling on. Yep, absolutely. So that was included in his statement. All right. Now back to Willie Leaks. So, also, um, I have a source within Kensington Palace that leaked to me, allegedly, that William's first words after the ceremony was over with, where he was handed that colonel whatever, that he turned to the rest of the soldiers and asked them, "Where can I find a pulled pork sandwich?" That's my own source that I have in Kensington Palace. Don't tell anybody, but I have sources too. It was someone close to the family, a credible source. Um, I have it on good authority, and all the rest of the stuff that the Royal Rota says. That's how I got that information. Plus, he looks kind of perverted. Raffaella Bertoni, thank you so much for. Oh, sorry about that. Thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Now, oh, let me see. Oh, this is out of place. This should have been up there at the top. I should have started with this one, but it's in the wrong place. Or did I do it twice? I think I put it twice. Yeah, I did. I accidentally posted that twice. So, right here, behind the scenes in Africa with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, we're really happy. Now, I know that some people have some feelings about People magazine. But what I want you all to consider, I'm not saying that you should like them any more than you do or don't, right? I'm not saying that you should look to them as a credible news source, but bear in mind that they were invited along. Their appearance in Nigeria was with the consent of the Sussexes, because pretty much the Sussexes did exactly what the royal family does, meaning that they allow some people, some reporters in and exclude others. That is the point of the Royal Rota. The Royal Rota was created to make sure that everyone that is invited to an outing is someone approved of by the royal family. So the Sussexes has declared that they're never going to work with the Royal Rota system again. And also, when they went to Kenya, they decided who would and would not be involved in the press corps that followed them. And so I just want you all to get used to the fact that People Magazine may be on board for some of these things in the future. So before you decide to trash them for, certain articles, just remember they were invited by the Sussexes. So what I'm saying is, I'm hoping that that means that they're going to have a good working relationship with People Magazine. They do have a lot of coverage, right? They have a big um, following, and it wouldn't hurt for them to get on well with each other. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, 1960, that is brilliant. It seems as though the Royal Rota is writing to an audience of two people. Absolutely. Um, what was it yesterday? I said every time they want to stroke William's ego, they start putting him on the cover of magazines in his uniform. That is very true. They have an audience of two, sometimes one, because I do believe that when Charles is trying to get William to do things, rather than speaking directly, they will brief from Buckingham Palace or Clarence House, whichever they're using. They will brief certain things, hoping that William will pick up what they're putting down and do exactly what they need him to do. So I think that is a factor too. So sometimes it's an audience of one. Okay, so Meghan Markle and Prince Harry made every moment count during their meaningful trip to Nigeria. Speaking with people on the tour, see there, they were with them. The Duke of Sussex says these trips are about us being able to go out and go and focus on things that mean so much to us, and being able to be on the ground to us is what it's all about. The Duchess of Sussex adds, it's really meaningful. Just being able to connect to people, that's what makes it special. The connection was magnified by Meghan's discovery through a genealogy test that she's 43% Nigerian, a revelation that deeply resonated with Meghan as she expressed being in my country. Uh, on Mother's Day, she found it poignant to be learning more about my heritage that I'm able to share with my children, she says. That's such a special thing as a mother to know you can do. Let me see here. Oh, the couple hit the ground running when they arrived in Lightway Academy in Abuja on May the 10th, the first stop of their 3-day stay. Speaking to students, Prince Harry emphasized the importance of acknowledging tough times, reassuring that it's okay to not be okay. Meghan recounted how Lilibeth, who turns 3 in June, recently remarked, Mama, I see me in you. Reflecting on those words, Meghan said, looking around the room, I see myself in all of you as well. Oh boy, don't let Camilla Tominey hear that. Don't let Camilla Tominey hear that, because y'all know Camilla Tominey, she loves to tell people what their kids said. Ugh, don't let her hear that. The article goes on to say the scene had all the makings of a royal tour, except this time the couple were visiting not as working royals, but on their own terms. Still, the similarities to their 2019 Africa tour were hard to miss. You know, one of the things about the Sussexes is that when they go on tour, have you guys noticed that they go to the people first and then they visit with the officials? And I believe that's what happened on the Africa tour, is that they went to the charities, to the agencies, to the schools before they went on to visit with the high ranking officials. They put the people first. And I like that. So, anyway, if you want to read the rest of that article, it is in People magazine. That was a little less than half of it, but I'll leave it to you. Thank you so much, Black Queen. Lily was referring to seeing her reflection in Megan's eyes. They left that part out. Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you so much for clarifying that. Okay, let me go on. So, I this is one of the photos that I did not see from their trip. Also, I have a few other photos. Oh, by the way, take a look here. Every so often, the Sussex Squad, certain individuals will do a collage of all the coverage. Well, not all of it, but just to give you an idea of how widespread. So I'm sure you can multiply this by a lot, because that was like one of the biggest stories on the planet was the Sussexes in Nigeria. And then here it says the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry, paid a scheduled visit to Nigerian Army Reference Hospital, Kaduna, on Saturday, 11 May 2024, and met with wounded in action soldiers. The British prince also met uh, is that met second lieutenant. Phew. Princess Aluchaku, Chukwu Awuwu, who recently passed out. That means graduated, right? From the Royal Military Academy, Sandhurst, United Kingdom, the first Nigerian female to achieve that feat. Now, Sandhurst is where Harry graduated, so I'm sure they had a lot to say to each other. So I did share this before, but um, wanted to share it again. And I don't think I've seen this one either. So yeah, you guys, there was so many photos. I think all week I'm going to be saying I haven't seen this one either. And then there are a couple of photos from Misan that was shared today. There's this one. One of these, I think this one was in People Magazine. No, the other one was in People Magazine. But both of these he posted on his social media. So we did see them standing together, but this one is actually them. Um, it's a better quality photo. I'll just say that, a much better quality photo than most of the ones that I've seen. But yeah, that is perfection. You like the blue skirt? Well, one of the squatties is actually going to take orders, and I'm sure that means people that she knows, but she's going to try to take orders to get fabric for some of the squatties that wants it. So I'll let you guys know if I can share who and what's possible, but hopefully I can do that between now and the end of the week. But yeah, one of the squatties is going to try her best to procure that fabric for anyone who wants it. And we are speaking of the blue fabric. Right? Right, maybe Ricks? Wouldn't that be cool? Because everybody wants that fabric now. And in case you guys aren't aware, Meghan was gifted a what do you call it, a boat, when they give you the fabric all rolled up or folded up. She was given that fabric the night before. And much to everyone's surprise, that's exactly what she wore the next day. Now, that's classy. I don't care how you slice it. That is very, very classy. But that's Megan. She's just very classy like that. I mean, could you imagine having gifted the most photographed woman in the world, having gifted her that fabric, and then the next day she's wearing a skirt made from that fabric? My jaw would just drop to the floor. I wouldn't be able to speak. I'd be like, she and I gave and I wouldn't know what to say. Let me see. Um, I'm trying to find the photo from when they first stepped off the plane and she was wearing that. Oh, is that it? Yeah, this is the one from yesterday. This is the one from yesterday. I want you to get the full effect. And you guys, people in Nigeria came from miles around. All of the well-known people, they came from miles around, including the four kings. There you go. So she was gifted the fabric the night before, and when she stepped off of the what is it, Peace Airlines or whatever, that was them at the airport. That was them at the airport. It was like a big party. The whole weekend was like a huge party. And this is one of those things that people are going to be talking about for a long time. They're going to be talking about that for a long time. So, once again, thank you, Nigeria, for showing Meghan the best hospitality, the best generosity, love, um, giving her a chance to partake in her birthright, all of those things. It's just amazing. It was a very emotional weekend. Well, you guys know I was overwhelmed with emotion. Oh, I didn't show you the other one. There's this one. That's another photo from Misan. Yeah, so that one. And the thing about it is Misan is so famous for his black and white photos, but I don't know what it is about these that the colors and the focus is so much greater than all the other photos that were taken at the same time. That's why I said it's like it's a refresh. It's like I'm looking at it for the first time. I don't know what he did. I don't know what he did, but this looks so much better. It looks natural. I feel like I could just reach out and shake hands with them. That's what it looks like. Like they're right there. So Misan is worth whatever it is he earns for the type of work that he does. That is incredible. I mean, honestly, I thought the color photos was kind of like the black and whites were his thing, but this is amazing. It's like looking at these for the first time. Oh yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is, um, when I see those posted, I will share them with you because there are going to be people. I don't know if you know this, but because I don't share it that often because I don't want to invade anybody's privacy, but sometimes they do post their photos wearing some of the stuff that Meghan has worn, which is very cool. Let me see. They all stand out and compliment each other. Love. Absolutely. I'm telling you, it's like I'm seeing these for the first time, but they do. They do complement one another very much so. And these, of course, are three of the four kings that left the sanctity of their homeland, the peace and serenity of their homeland, and came to Lagos to um, have this naming ceremony. Yeah, that it's just every person from Nigeria that I've heard talking about this says this never happens. The This is so much bigger than you could imagine. That's what I heard all day. And then the next day, they said this never happens, and you could not possibly know how big this is. They just kept saying that. This never happens. When the Queen went to Nigeria, they did not come to see her, she went to them. And I'm talking about back in the day, post colonialism. She went to them. And of course, there's this quote that Mamie Ricks, thank you so much for the super sticker and thank you for being a member of Royal Sussex. Here it says, what people define as a Nigerian woman is brave, resilient, courageous, powerful, and beautiful. And it is the most flattering thing to be in that company. Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex, as well as Princess from Nigeria. But yeah, that's what she said. Is that is what she knows about Nigerian women from this trip, and that is what she's witnessed, and now she feels more part of it. So, oh man, and let us not forget the Archewell um, women's leadership meeting that they had. That's another big one. That is huge. That is huge. Some of the best and the brightest entrepreneurs, doctors, or PhDs and such, all of them under one roof. It's like having the Academy Award winners or having, you know what I mean? It's just huge. It was a very big weekend. And I think that, like I said, I know, not I think, I know that's the wrong word. I know that people are going to be talking about this for a long time. And so there you have it. Princess Meghan, Ada Masi Omu of Aruchukwu. That's her. Write it down. Oh, I see you said it at the same time. Very cool. Very cool. Now, we're almost done, you guys. I don't know if you recognize that poor fellow. As a matter of fact, I don't know if they recognize him, but that is Prince Edward. Prince Edward was out and about, and as you can see, standing in the rain, he went over to greet people who may or may not have recognized him. And it was kind of sad because you would have thought that those people sitting at the table would have jumped up to shake his hand, or you would have thought that some of those people may have done a little bow or a curtsy. Oh, there was none of that. There was none of that. I watched the video several times and it was kind of sad. He mentioned something to the people about it's kind of raining and you're out here. They say, yeah, well, we got the only umbrella. And then the lady in the doorway, I think she owns the place or she works there or something. And I think she said something about day old pastries or whatever she said. And then he pointed up the street to a statue of Nelson or something to that. And yeah, that was it. Nobody embraced him, of course, and nobody tried to shake his hand. They were polite. I'll give you that. They were polite, but um plus I think they said he's a bit of a germophile, so he don't really like to shake hands anyway. So I don't know if they knew that, but yeah, it was you wouldn't have known if you were walking down the street and let's say you were not from Britain or you had no knowledge of that family. And even if you did, and you said, "Who is that?" That was Prince Edward. Who is he? Queen Elizabeth's son. Really? Yeah, she had 4 kids. That's probably the reaction that a lot of people would have because a lot of people just don't know that that was Queen Elizabeth's last child. Yeah. Yeah, he's kind of pathetic. And just think, he and Sophie wanted the life that Meghan and Harry have. They wanted to work in entertainment, and well, they just couldn't cut it. They were afraid to cut those apron strings. That's what it was. They were afraid of being cut off. So, that being said, do know that I love you all. And here's the last word for today. When you change, don't announce it, just bloom. Okay? Or blossom. When you change, don't announce it. Do not say to everybody, you know what? I'm about to keep it to yourself. Just keep it to yourself because not everybody wants you to succeed. Not everybody wants to see you thrive. I hate to say this, but there might be some among you that are hoping that you will fail and fail again so that you won't ever live up to your promise. You won't ever succeed. So sometimes it's best to just keep it to yourself. So when you change, don't announce it, just bloom. And with that, I am done, done, done. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, moderators, for keeping this the safe space that we know of. Also, moderators, I see you all have been cleaning house in the comment section. Thank you so much for that. Oh, this one person wrote this very lengthy thing, but because they use a certain word, it never saw the light of day. And I get such a kick out of that. They do all that writing and typing and stuff only to find out that it didn't go through. And then, of course, I see it and then I delete it and block them forever. So it's so cruel, isn't it? I love it. I love it. I mean, they write an entire essay and nobody ever sees it. Like a poor marksman, they just keep missing the target. Oh, it's the simple things in life that bring me so much joy. You bring me joy when I'm down. uh, okay, so thank you. And let me see. As usual, we never, ever forget our queens, right? We never, ever forget our queens, especially the rock of the Sussex family, I wish Doria could have been there with Meghan, but maybe in the future, maybe in the future. But it would have been so nice to have Doria witness that moment for Meghan. But that's okay. That's okay. I know she watched back in California. I'm sure Meghan called her immediately. Uh-oh, I'm getting goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps. Next thing you know, I'm going to get overcome with emotion. But yeah, I'm getting goosebumps. I wish that Doria could have been there. Would have been such a moment. It would have been such a moment. But you know what? I wouldn't have been any good. If Doria was there, I know me, I would have been all Susie Q about it. Susie Q is also very sensitive to those types of situations. So I would have gone Susie Q. So, oh, Doria is Queen Mozzie. Okay, thank you. Yeah, the Three Kings, the white horse running through the streets of London, Charles being painted in a way that he looks like the return of Satan. I mean, it's a lot of stuff going on. Um, and of course, where's Kate Middleton? There's a lot of things going on, a lot of spooky stuff, a lot of spooky stuff. Yeah, I drove through. Wait, I walked around London and saw a horse with no name. It was dripping from its mane. La 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 la. Oh yes, thank you, Black Queen. Thank you so much. And I do feel better today, but I'm going to rest my voice for tomorrow. Notre Dame, huh? Yeah, people have been saying that. The signs of the didn't they have the what is that? The two horses at the Denver airport? Isn't there like a lot of those symbols at the Denver airport? Let me see. Denver airport. Um, what am I looking for? Symbols? Okay. Yeah, I'm looking for something short. I don't want anything long and drawn out. Why is Denver airport so weird? Good God, they have a horse that has eyes that are glowing. The eyes of the horse is glowing? Jeez. Warn me. Huh. Well, don't they have the thing with the two horses? Didn't I see something with two horse heads? Anyway, we'll get into that another time because next thing you know, I'll be on here for hours. Let me see. Yeah, the horse with the glowing eyes. A blue horse? The pale horse outside, I think they had been they even okay. Yeah, that horse is scary. Oh, Freemason symbol, huh? Ooh. Well, let me stop because y'all might be up all night, scared. Okay. Love you guys. I will see you next time. And I think one of these days this week we're gonna have to do is where is Kate Middleton? We're gonna have to do that. Where is Kate Middleton? We'll get caught up on everything we know. But until then, just remember, Camilla Tominey is a liar. I know, flowers in the attic. Well, you know what? I don't know if you saw the earlier Royal Sussex, but I told you all that that painting of Charles reminds me of the portrait of Dorian Gray. It reminds me of Dorian Gray. Mm-hmm. Kind of spooky. Kind of spooky. Yep. Okay. Good night.
And I love Prince Harry, and Prince Harry should be king. He should be king. Prince Harry, not William. William and all of them in there, Camilla is the wicked witch of the devil himself, because she is part of why Princess Diana is not here. I do not like them. I am from the islands, and we don't need them in the Caribbean. Get lost. Demolish the monarchy. This is 2023, okay? And I will support Harry 100%. I do feel for him. Yes, I do. And everything in the book is the truth. And Charles is the monster, not Harry. Harry is no monster, not Meghan. He's bringing the story out right now. They are evil people. They are not nice. Behind the wall, we all are one human being, and behind that wall there are no difference with me and you and any other Brits. Give the people back the money. They are just welfare recipients, living off the taxpayers of the British people. And the British people are stupid, supporting that nonsense monarchy. It is nothing. It's just a title. It means nothing, a title. I'm angry at them.